Hello and welcome to our first live show at half-time. It's currently Swansea City 0, West Ham United 0. Thank you for joining us, whether you're from hammerschat.com or the West Ham Way. Thanks to ex-West Ham employee and Hammer and Talk for tweeting our links as well. I'm Gio from hammerschat.com. I've got Chris with me as well, and we're going to hit his thoughts in a second. Chris, it's not exactly a great start to the half, is it?
Oh, it's really dire, to be fair. I think Sam might have snuck into the dugout and start dictating tactics.
It does look a little bit like a Sam Allardyce kind of first 45 minutes, unfortunately, doesn't it? It does remind you a wee bit of last season.
Well, we've sat back. I don't know if you were watching it on Sky, the same as me, but they put a stat up. Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
They put a stat up, which was, I think there was at one point they'd had 250 odd passes and we'd had 63, and we just really invited them onto us. I'm not sure exactly what we've got on out. I mean, I was very disappointed when the team sheet came in with Jelavic, that's for sure.
Charlie, would you argue that? You're a fan of Jelavic. Thank you for joining us, Charlie. Jelavic started over Valencia, who we can only assume is not 100% fit. Do you think it was the right thing by Bilic prior to the first 45 minutes?
Yeah, because I don't think we should risk any of the play. We've got so many injuries at this point. We shouldn't risk rushing them in too quickly, just because if they get injured for even longer, we're going to be screwed longer. So I would have said, yeah, start Jelavic above Valencia.
Chris, I take it you're not impressed by Jelavic then in that first 45 minutes?
I'm not impressed with him with any 45 minutes. I've been impressed with him at 30 seconds, apart from that one assist he got. I just don't know what he does, to be honest with you. I know he was good at Rangers once upon a time. What's he do? He doesn't pass it. He doesn't hold it up. We don't cross it very much, so he doesn't head it in. I'd love to be proved wrong in the next 45 minutes, and you can cut and paste this and post it everywhere. But you know, he doesn't score goals. What's been really evident is Antonio has been sort of getting the ball and trying to provide an outlet, and there's really nothing there. And I think if we're going to break, we have to break with pace. Clearly we're playing a defensive game, clearly we're trying to soak it up, and if we're going to break with pace, then surely Valencia needs to start.
But Jelavic hasn't had anything to go on. He's had scraps up front. He's had nothing. The one chance that, well, half a chance that Noble had came purely from Jelavic's hard work.
I'm not blaming Jelavic alone. I think he has struggled, apart from the keeper, who would obviously be blameless. I think he's struggled to find a single player who's playing well out there. So it just might have given an outball. There was a point where they were really on us, and a wave after wave of attack, and I was looking, I thought actually Jelavic was in the box defending as well, and I'm thinking, where is the outball? There wasn't one. And I just think if you have someone as quick as Valencia in the team, then automatically they won't commit so many men forwards.
Charlie, is it concerning for you that Kouyaté, Noble and Song are getting dominated by Key, Britton and Jack Cork in midfield?
Yeah, to an extent for sure. I think our biggest problem is we can't break at all because there's no central attacking midfielder. And so when they look up wide men who drop back so deep to try and contend with Swansea's attack down the sides, that there's no outball, right? And so we're just quite happy to sit back, contain, wait for as long as the day is, you know, just keep going, keep waiting, and then break, and there's nothing there. They shouldn't be sitting as deep as they are, to be perfectly honest. That's the biggest problem for me. Anyway.
Charlie, is there a Swansea goal coming, do you think? Do you not get the feeling that it's just a matter of time as to when they break the deadlock?
They've not had that many great chances. They've had the lion's share of everything, but their chances they're creating aren't very good. So possibly yes, but it's going to take a defence splitting pass or an amazing shot from range, and I haven't seen either of those being particularly good so far.
Chris, is Kouyaté disappointing you today in centre midfield? He's the one that's disappointing me the most out of the 11 that's out there.
Sorry,
today.
Who is the most?
Check.
Yeah, I mean, they've all been bad in the centre of the park, actually. I've got a couple of emails, got a couple of messages coming through on the website, on the forum, which is hammerschat.boards.net. Cockney Reject has said Tom's playing well, assured at right back, which you can't really argue with that. He's looked okay. He's not had a lot of attacking to do, and that's he's seen Tompkins, isn't it? He says no invention in midfield, nothing at all going forward. Swansea passing well and creating a lot of space. He said Bilic has set this up for a draw, I'm afraid. Stats have just popped up on the screen. 74% possession for Swansea.
Yeah, that's quite a shocking stat. That's an Allardyce stat, unfortunately. My concern is when Antonio is getting the ball and running forward, no one's running with him. Jelavic is usually 10, 20 yards ahead, being marked by two centre-backs comfortably. But Zarate is dawdling behind, but there's no one else. No one is pushing up the park, and that's what's concerning me the most about that first 45. Also, if Antonio disappears from the right midfield position, Taylor is going to have a field day down our left-hand side. He's already getting way too much space down that left flank. And if for whatever reason Antonio goes over to the left or gets subbed, it will concern me just how much space they're going to get. I think if Swansea get a goal, it's going to come from the left, their left, our right-hand side. As good as Tompkins is doing, I think he's got too much to do. Charlie, what does Bilic do for the second half?
You have to bring someone on in that central position, or move someone there. I would take one of the three defensive midfielders off, and then bring on either someone who can play on the left, someone who can play on the right, and put Zarate in the centre. Because again, he's just not tracking back fast enough. And how many times have you seen the ball come in from Jack Cork of all people on that right hand side? And it's because Aaron Cresswell's getting too exposed. So you move someone in the centre, and that will give us both an attacking threat and a defensive, something more steady defensively.
There's not much option on the bench for Bilic attacking, though. I think that's Bilic's worry. He looks around, he's got Enner Valencia there, but he doesn't really have much else going forward. Chris, if you were Bilic, what would you be saying to the team right now?
I don't think it's a case of him. Well, we need some urgency. Firstly, I'll be shouting at him a little bit, I guess, but he really needs to do something. He needs to provide some inspiration, but I'm not necessarily in terms of what he says. I think he needs to provide some inspiration in terms of doing something tactically. I mean, I appreciate what Charlie said, moving Zarate in the middle or whatever. Whether you're doing that so as someone can cover Cresswell, I don't know. Almost, I think the last thing we need to do is almost bring another guy back so there's another one helping out another defender. I think quite the opposite. I think we need to throw some numbers forward. Look, normally you'll play 3 in midfield, because if you play a 2 in midfield, you get outnumbered. You know what? We're getting outnumbered anyway. Might as well play 2 in midfield and play 2 strikers. You've got to get Valencia on. And, I mean, who else do we have on the bench? It's a real shame Samuelson is out on loan, actually, because I thought someone like that would create a bit of invention. We're missing our playmakers. If we're going to score a goal, it probably is going to come from Zarate. If Zarate doesn't score a wonder goal, which he always tries to do, he doesn't dribble past 3 or 4 players, we're unlikely to score a goal.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Chris. I would like to see us go for this, because whether we win, lose or draw, we're sitting in 8th tomorrow morning, regardless of the outcome today. But if we win, we're literally just 2 points off the top 4. And if we can get through this injury period, be touching distance within a European spot, it's remarkable. And our season looks a whole lot different, despite the fact that we've gone 6 games without a win. We're still in with a chance of Europe, and we're going through this massive injury crisis. Teams usually go through a rough period. We're going through ours, and we can get out of it, touching distance of the top, then fantastic. I think Bilic needs to do something, though. I would personally like to see Kiyate go forward, because he's not doing it in front of the back 4. And I think Noble is almost running around like a headless chicken in front of their back 4. He's trying to push up and put pressure on the centre-backs, who they're just completely outnumbering our attacks. So they're passing about willy-nilly. Noble's just running around looking like a bit silly. But anyway, Charlie, Chris, thank you for popping on. You guys, thank you for watching us at halftime. I was going to say from the Liberty Stadium. We're not quite there yet. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to this Scottish idiot instead of the one on the TV. But do pop on to hammerchat.com, click on forum, join in the interaction. Pop onto the westhamway.co.uk and have a look. They've just put up an article about what's happening with the Lanzini deal, because there's been a bit of confusion about that this morning. And we'll be back later on tonight with our review of the show. But Charlie, Chris, thank you. Enjoy the second half, guys. Hopefully we can get the 3 points. Come on, West Ham.
Fingers crossed. Right.